call a battle of two NFC East stalwarts. That's what we're going to have on the slate today. And of course, we're going to do what we always do here on Splash Play. We're going to dig into the projections and the ownership projections. We're also going to optimize some lineups, see what the solver has for us. We're going to check out the sims on Stochastic. We're in a single lineup build here and sim that out as well. By the end of the video, I'll give you guys 3 takeaways to build unique lineups on this Thursday night football slate. And let's get into it. And guys, I'm going to tell you up top here, if I am a little bit less good than usual today, it's because we just had to put my dog down. So I'm feeling pretty shitty, to be honest, emotionally. But as we know, we show up and do the work. And much like my dog did for 14 years and change of being my best buddy. Shout out to my girl, Penny, who I just fucking sucked. It's tough having an old dog, guys. But give me some grace today because I am working through it. But I still want to be here for you guys, much like Penny was for me. Because I'm just a loyal dog here. I'm a loyal hound pit mix that's showing up every day to do the work. But shout out to you guys hanging out with me. Thank you for that. I appreciate it. To our guy Chunk, but I'm trying to not cry on stream like the last time I had to put a dog down 2 years ago, or at least I had peed on that stream with me going through the emotions. I was talking about my girl Callie, but really bad cancer. Penny was just old and couldn't move around anymore. So that is the flip side of it. You got to make a choice for the dog's happiness, and unfortunately, we reached that point, but I will appreciate the kind words that you guys leave here because I know people are always kind about dogs. Let's talk about projections, though, and let's win one for Penny. Dogs care about gambling, man. We got Dak Prescott. Thank you, Rodney. I appreciate it. We got Dak, top projected player right now, 20.1 points in a game where the Cowboys have 25 implied points by Vegas. Giants, 19.5 points. Matchup overview as well relative to the advanced analytics, of course, I swear by. For Sports Info Solutions, we're looking at a negative 0.1 EPA per dropback. Giants defense, negative 0.12 EPA per pass. A little bit less good against the rush. Negative 0.01 EPA there. Definitely weakening in the red zone. Negative 0.06 EPA versus the rush, but a 0.5 EPA against red zone passes. So as you're looking at for the Giants D, a team that overall fairly weak, but honestly playing better this year than the Cowboys D so far. Cowboys D, negative 0.01 EPA per dropback, negative 0.02 EPA per pass. So on paper, another spot where Daniel Jones should be able to theoretically be the best version of himself. Downside is the Cowboys are getting pressure 41% of the time, hurrying the quarterback 18% of the time. So I would say today a very variant spot potentially for Daniel Jones. And one guy I'm going to highlight right away, according to the advanced analytics, we'll see what the projection is in a moment. But Devin Singletary going against the Cowboys lead, it's giving up 0.22 EPA per rush, which right now be one of the worst marks in the league. So theoretically, room for production on the Giants side. That's how it goes. But Dak, number one projected right now, 20.1 for him, 1.9x value. So not that crazy of a value. Reasonable price tag, though, at 10.4. CeeDee Lamb, 18.65 projection on him. Highest salary player in the slate. Will probably be paired quite a good amount with Dak Prescott for the showdown. Daniel Jones, number 3, 9,400 for him. He's been playing pretty well so far the last few weeks. Still only a 60% catchable ball rate. Still only a negative 0.07 EPA per pass. So Daniel Jones, as I mentioned, probably going to be a very variable play coming up today. Malik Neighbors, the number 4, 16 fantasy points. And Devin Singletary, 15.6, your top projected players. Value, guys, we should come up a little bit more. Eric Gray, 1.2 fantasy points here. He's definitely fallen behind Tyrone Tracy, who's getting 16.3 snaps per game. Last time out, Eric Gray got 3 snaps. Singletary got 49, and Tracy got 22. So Eric Gray coming up as a value play, not really a viable play, it looks like, based on the snap count. Chris Manhertz in the mix a little bit more. Definitely not nobody in that pass game for the tight ends, really, for the Giants are doing well right now. Manhertz, though, played 27 snaps last week, so he's barely got a projection on him, but at $200, he's probably to come up in some lineups. Jalen Hyatt, number 3, a player that has not done well so far. Darius Slayton injury to watch here heading into tonight. Potentially, I think he should be good to go, but potentially could be ruled out last minute with him having a hand injury following concussion. And Hyatt, it feels like should be taking some snaps from Slayton at some point. But Hyatt, 10 routes or 10 snaps last game. Slayton, 59. So we are not there yet for Hyatt usage. Hyatt still looks like more of a wish cast to play. Schoonmaker, number 4. Wan'Dale Robinson, number 5. Wan'Dale, the really only projectable player here. Great pivot point to Malik Neighbors, but Malik Neighbors dominating the target share so much. We'll see how much of a pivot point he actually is. Showdown ownership here. Let me refresh this, go over to this tab. And of course, you get all this data for yourself at Stochastic. Check it out. Link in the description. 15% off with the promo code SPLASH as well. Dak Prescott, 71% ownership overall. So again, top projected player, decent salary on him. He's going to come up pretty much everywhere if I had to guess when you run that optimizer in a moment. CeeDee Lamb, number 2, 63% ownership for him, 22% at captain. So a lot of builds with CD at captain, a lot of them with Dak in the flex is what you would guess to see right away. Daniel Jones, 54% overall, 9% at captain. Singletary, 49% overall, 11% at captain. And Neighbors, 45% overall, 14% at captain. So that is your build so far here in terms of the top owned players. Lower owned guys we can look at real fast. Theo Johnson has been playing a good amount. Not playing well, but playing a good amount. 58 snaps last week for Theo Johnson. It's going to be under 10% owned, it looks like here. At 25 routes per game, negative 0.2 EPA per target, 9% target per out run. So it is not going well for Theo Johnson so far. Matchup-wise, okay one against the Dallas D. It's given up a 10% tight end target rate. So I would say it's a little bit less than average, negative 0.07 EPA to tight ends. On paper, not looking like a Theo Johnson spot, but just the fact he's getting a crush of snaps, you could definitely play him. Tyrone Tracy, Deuce Vaughn, Luke Schumacher certainly looks a little bit less good. Now Jake Ferguson's back in. Hyatt, Turpin, Brooks, really, none of these guys stand out as being that great of a play. Dable and Hyatt's low number snaps. We sprinkle in Hyatt. He's the third guy in 2 wide receiver sets, fourth guy in 3 wide receiver sets. We have Yak guys like Neighbors and Wandale, and we need to build off that. So that does not sound like good coach speak for Hyatt getting more work here, but that makes sense. Coach, you're paying for the Coach Speak at Next Discord. All right, shout out Tyler, shout out the Coach Speak at Next. Always doing a good job. Let's go to the optimizers, though. Let's head up to the solver now. Of course, the solver, what we're going to do here is just look at the pure math of it all with ETR's projections. You can see on the screen, top projected players don't look too dissimilar here. This is actually the captain numbers. We got Dak Prescott, again, top projected on ETR. CeeDee Lamb, number 2, 19.2 projection. Malik Neighbors, number 3. Daniel Jones, number 4. Singletary, number 5. So a flip of Jones and Neighbors, I believe, compared to Stochastic's ownership. Besides that, we're looking pretty much flat overall. Yep. Yeah, it's basically the only change, it looks like. And let's just run this out. So 25 lineups here. No extra settings put on top, so you can see what the projections drive people to. We'll make some distillations off that. If for all the info edges, one day it'll matter. I hope so. I hope so. So dare to dream that one day this will all matter. Dak Prescott at captain, Malik Neighbors, Daniel Jones, Brandon Aubrey. So unstacked Dak here, looking like the optimal right now. Wandale Robinson, Greg Joseph. So if you're going to play a cash game as of 12:15 on the East Coast today, this will be the lineup to play with Dak, Neighbors, Daniel Jones, Brandon Aubrey, Wandale Robinson, and Greg Joseph. So both kickers making it in. A little bit of a surprise. Scroll down, though, and see the overarching trends. So right away, we are getting Dak, Daniel Jones, and Wandale Robinson in every lineup. So stacking up more Cowboys looks like it won't occur naturally relative to projections. We did not get a ton of CeeDee Lamb, it looks like here. So it does seem like in terms of the projections, people obviously forced their way to CeeDee Lamb, but naturally we're not going to get pushed onto CeeDee Lamb quite as much because of that high price tag and the fact that he projects less well than Dak. So one thing right away you could do would be to not play Dak, play CeeDee Lamb. CeeDee's looked pretty bad to start the year. I was going through his numbers a little bit before. He's got 9 or 8 targets a game, so that's pretty good. 12.6 air yards per target, that's pretty good. But EPA-wise, negative 0.15 EPA per target compared to last year. He was at like 0.6 or something. He was like really high last year. So he's not playing very efficiently right now. He's not getting targeted as well per route. 22% target per route run. For comparison's sake, Jake Ferguson's at 30. Brandon Cooks is at 15. Jalen Tolbert's at a rounded up 16. So Lamb has not been the same player so far this year. Maybe that's because he missed camp, all that. Have to build the connection with Dak a little bit more again. It hasn't been there to start, but I do think just tournament-wise, you're not getting enough CeeDee Lamb here in this optimal. You're getting him 44% of the time over. Actually, no. You're getting him 16% of the time in your top 25 lineups. That's not a lot of CeeDee Lamb. Shout out to Mr. Poopy Butthole. Our guy Jaden here. I don't know why they're saying Dak over if they blow them out. Rico Dowdle should do good. Yeah, I don't know that I'm not big on Rico Dowdle necessarily. He got more work last week. Still trailing in the red zone work, though, which I think is still going to go Zeke's way. Rico Dowdle has not gotten a red zone touch or inside the 10-yard line touch so far. Granted, they were not in that range very often last week, but Rico's usage has not been as good as I think people want it to be. Stack construction to the top 25. You got a lot of Giants 4-2s, Some Cowboys 4-2s, a lot of 3-3s. So onslaught builds are going to be on the menu a little bit more. I would think onslaught Cowboys going to be appearing less with some of the projections we saw. So right away, I think that onslaughts are definitely part of the viable approach here, especially with the Cowboys being 5.5-point favorites on the road. You could take the home dog too, you could take that onslaught. But if Dallas really does smoke the Giants, I'm not sure they will with how they've played so far. But again, it's just about playing low-owned outcomes, not necessarily trying to play the outcome we think is going to happen most frequently. As a fan, I don't think Cowboys blowing anyone out. I mean, I agree with what we've seen so far, but you would hope that it starts to get better. I mean, Dak's catchable ball rate has been down a little bit. 61% catchable ball rate, so not the most accurate. But he's taking 5 deep shots a game. He's handling pressure fairly well, seeing it 26% of the time, but only a negative 0.4 EPA on those plays. I think it's going to get better for Dallas. And again, the Vegas total does support Dallas. You look at a 5.5-point spread favoring them on the road. On the flip side of that would be like, the more variant outcomes that would be on that map. You could have Cowboys, winning by 10, winning by 14. Like, you got to keep in mind that I think when they're favored that heavily on the road, it's not that far away to get into a blowout kind of build. Let's see if we can sim some lineups here. Let me put on some variants and put on some advanced settings as well. My showdown settings here, as I've mentioned every time I do the stream, I do leave some salary on the table when I'm building my 500 lineups in the optimizer. I also do give some of my restrictions here where I'm not forcing stacks, but I am boosting people overall. And I guess I am also forcing QB plus 1 receiver. But for the most part, the boosts do the work here. 25% boost if you're playing a captain QB to the wide receiver and tight end. 10% boost to the RB with a captain QB. And then a 25% boost to the captain QB if it's a sorry guys. This is where the dog being put down thing. It's fucking with my head a little bit. We're at my usual Sterling presentation. The captain wide receiver, captain tight end, QB gets a 25% boost with that. And let's see what we get. I'll run 500 here. Why not? And guys, if you appreciate the content here, please do make sure, and I should also put on the solver sticker here. Please make sure to hit that like button and subscribe again today. I am not feeling myself here because I had to put down my beloved dog Penny right before the stream, but still show up and do the work here for you guys because that's my commitment to you every day here on Splash Play. So hit that like button, subscribe, and do all that. And go hug your fucking dogs. Go give them some ear scratches. Go do all that. Appreciate them. Appreciate the mutts out there. Especially the mutts. Especially the mixes from shelters today for Penny. Fucking donate to a shelter today. Save a dog. I was actually looking at just, to kind of get my mind off the dog stuff a little bit. Was looking at some shelters nearby, and some of them have them like time stamped is what they call the dogs, where it's like, this dog's going to die if it's not adopted by 10 a.m. tomorrow. I'm like, God, this is fucking depressing. And it's like a lot of dogs. So, do something kind, guys. Do something kind for a dog. I appreciate it, guys. I hope so. I hope Penny cares about gambling. I'm sure she cares about Alex and Luca's happiness. So hopefully she'll will me the gambling. Though my grandma died, she didn't fucking help me with gambling at all. So hopefully the dog does more. I appreciate it, guys. I'm just like, I'm slogging through. I was supposed to do a call this afternoon and had to move it. I'm just like, I do not fucking have it in me to do it. Like, I'll write up my fantasy points. I'm right at the saddest fantasy points props column ever today. Fucking digging into ass stats while thinking about my dog. It's slow build here, guys. This is what we have to do when it's building the lineups out. Of course, the solver does, though. It's not the same as stochastic. You're building your own lineups in an optimizer, so you can build 500 max, sim those out against tournament fields that are built by the ETR staff, built by the solver staff. So that's what we're doing right now as we build these 500 lineups. And nothing better than stalling for time when you're emotionally crippled. when you're dead inside, you're turning 40 and you've lost your. I don't have a dog in the house for the first time in 14 years. Like, I'm fucking feeling it. All unders props, calling it, yeah, I'll call it that. I have a hard time picking unders when it's just me betting against like air, where I'm not using market data. Like, I think when you use market data, you go unders. If you're just betting shit off the top of your head, I go overs. I go overs more often than not. I'm a simple man. Yeah. The tough part is like, we're not going to have a dog probably until the spring, because it really doesn't usually make sense to get a dog heading into winter months. So we'll survive. One less errand to do, but one less little snoot to boop. One little head to scratch. Let's simulate the play action. We'll get a lot of entries in, right? Because they don't have Millie Maker, do they? Oh, they actually have the Millie Maker in for once. All right, fine. We'll sim the Millie Maker. All right. It's $15 showdown getting simmed right now. It'll take a minute or two. I'll wallow. I've said it here before, guys. This is a show, this is a DFS show, but ultimately it's just me showing my gambling every day. And some days my gambling is going to be affected by me being clinically depressed for various reasons. Maybe not clinically. They don't give you a depression diagnosis with a euthanasia. Top ROI lineups right now, according to the Solver. CeeDee Lamb at captain. Daniel Jones. Total salary, $48,500, leaving $1,500 on the table. So CeeDee Lamb, Daniel Jones, Cowboys D, Darius Slayton, Theo Johnson, Dak Prescott. Cowboys D, I got to say, if they're getting this much pressure, and I said this last week too against Cleveland, who historically has also gotten a lot of pressure. Giants beat them up still, despite that. Cowboys getting pressure 41% of the time is really fucking lofty. And they're only blitzing 29% of the time. So that's like front four pressure coming a little bit more. 18% QB hurry rate. This is where Daniel Jones struggles the most. That said, I will have to say for Daniel Jones, so pressure-wise last year, he's one of the worst QBs in football. This year, only a negative 0.45 EPA per pressure drop back, which is actually not terrible. Like we're talking anything negative 0.3 to negative 0.5. You're in a pretty okay range. So Daniel Jones falling apart a little bit less. Still sucks on deep balls. But I don't know. I think Cowboys D, I guess it depends on the ownership. And Cowboys D is projected to be owned. I'm going back to this other tab. 27% Cowboys D overall, 2% at captain. I like Cowboys D as a play, but I do wonder if it gets steamed up a little bit more than it should be. That's the one thing I will say with them. But theoretically, they get home a lot, bringing out the worst of Daniel Jones. I think it makes sense. The Sims seem to be in favor of playing Daniel Jones, but so are the projections. So it's where you have to kind of balance that out, where if you get a sense, if you watch this stream, you watch Stochastic stream, you watch Neil Orfield stream, you watch the fucking, the Run Pure guys, you watch the Ship It guys, and they're all like, Cowboys D against Daniel Jones going to be quite the play today. Then you should go, I'm going to play less Cowboys D. But I would say right now, taking the shot on them up when they are in the top sim lineup overall, I think more Cowboys D than not currently. CeeDee Lamb, Daniel Jones, Devin Singletary, Tyrone Tracy, Hunter Lupke, who did get a few snaps last week. I think literally a few from what I saw in that game. I don't think it's enough. Lupke got to 30 snaps last game. So he actually did get work theoretically. Let's see if I could find his production. Oh my God, he's so deep down the list. My Excel is like, you can't pull up Hunter Lupke. He's not really a player. Don't look at him. But I'd like to know if he's actually doing something useful here. For some reason, it's like fucking whited out in my sheet. All right, I'll have to figure this out later. Lupke, I don't think is a real play, to be clear, but 30 snaps. I guess I get it. Wan'Dale Robinson, captain. Wan'Dale Robinson, captain. So one thing you're not seeing a lot of up here is the Malik Neighbors, captain. You're getting one here. Neighbors, Ferguson, Rico, Brandon Aubrey, Wan'Dale Robinson, Daniel Jones. Wan'Dale captain's coming up a lot. So CD captains, Wan'Dale captains, Daniel Jones captains. You know you're not seeing it all here, Jake Ferguson. Which could be partially because of there being a Schoonmaker. Ferguson played 53 snaps last week, and Schoonmaker was back down to 25, which is actually less than the week before last where he played with no Ferguson. So, yeah, Ferguson captain, I think, looks under-owned here. Obviously, the Sims are going to say these guys are good plays, but sometimes when you just see none of a player coming up at captain up top here, I think Ferguson kind of interesting to see overall. Yeah, in the captain spot. All right, let's go over to the Stochastic Sims. Continue our process here. So 33% to first again. I feel like it usually is for the showdowns. But let's build this out here. Contest generator, 10,000 lineups, Dallas Giants. We'll see what the Stochastic Sims give us next. So check out the solver if you enjoyed that last process here. Again, optimizer combined with sim. It's a bit of a different process than Stochastic. Stochastic is basically building a player pool or a lineup pool of 10,000 lineups that reflect their ownership projections. So if they say a player is going to be about 50% owned, then the player will come up 50% in the player pool. That's sort of that process works. And those 10,000 lineups, they'll sim against each other 10,000 times. This next process coming up here. So that's what we're going to run now. Running 25% to first. It might be 33 again, but I'm not looking. We're trying to get to the fucking finish line so I can go cry some more. I can go cry in peace, not in front of you guys. And we'll build a single lineup sim after this one too. The good news is that less people watch the Thursday football video than they do on Monday. So my shame can be kept just to you loyal regulars here. I won't have to share me being an emotional, blubbery mess with a bunch of randos like we would on a Monday Night Football video. We'll see what we get here, though. Got any captain requests or lineups with a player in them? Drop in the chat now, and I'll make sure to look at it when we go through. Compiling our results. What a great day to use that promo code, guys. You know, it would help me feel better. Money. 15% off. Stochastic. Promo code SPLASH. People say that money doesn't cure all your problems. I respectfully disagree. There's no shame about it, but it's just uncomfortable to cry on camera by yourself. So that's what I'm trying to avoid today. Top ROI lineup right now, a Daniel Jones captain with Dak, Darius Slayton, Neighbors, Rico Dowdle, Wandale. I think that gets duped a lot. I don't agree with that. $300 left on the table, not enough. A lot of showdowns, by the way, guys. It's going to be eyeballing lineups, getting your callus built up enough to be able to identify lineups that are going to be owned more. Pretty much anytime you see all legit players in a lineup, and Daniel Jones is projecting pretty well today, so he's not going to sneak up at you captain quite as much. I think this lineup makes sense going with the triple, but still going to have some dupes on it, not zero for sure. Singletary at captain, I think, is an interesting one. Again, Cowboys getting strafed in the run game this year, and Singletary last week against the Browns got there in a pretty big way. Neighbors was the captain in that game. Let's say Neighbors comes down a little bit, Wandale comes up. Singletary could make captain if the Giants somehow win. So Singletary, Cowboys, Dak, Daniel Jones, Jake Ferguson, Wandale. It's coming up top. Shout out Justin here. Pennies for Penny. I appreciate that on her behalf. Fucking euthanizing a dog is more expensive than it should be too. I feel like it should be free to kill your dog. But no, fucking almost $1,000. Wandale Robinson, Dak Prescott, Daniel Jones, Devin Singletary, Jake Ferguson, Rico Dowdle. So you are not getting the expected captains up top. You're not getting your CeeDee Lamb. You're not getting your Malik Neighbors. Might reflect the fact that it's hard to build unique lineups with those guys. Cowboys, Brandon Aubrey, CeeDee Lamb, Dak, Devin Singletary, Ezekiel Elliott. I can live with this one. We're talking to Cowboys onslaught. We're getting both kickers in. The bring back for it is Singletary, which is not perfect. Usually in a 5-1, you'd want a receiver to be to bring back, but I think this lineup here with Cowboys D at captain, I think it's playable for sure. And no CD in the top 5 is wild. Rico Dowdle captain, Brandon Aubrey, Dak. Let's look at Rico's snap count real fast. I know it was up over Zeke, but I haven't seen the exact number. So Rico played 37 snaps last week. He's been going up every week, 28 week 1, 30 week 2, 37 week 3. Ezekiel Elliott was down to 15 snaps. Zeke going the exact opposite way, 32, 28, 15. Still think Zeke has the goal line work, though. I would have a hard time with Rico at captain. But there you go. There's your Dowdle captain. I could show you some more Dowdle captains. I don't know, man. I think that's, I'm not going to say a fish play, but I don't think that's actually a sharp play, to be honest. I could be totally wrong here. I think it gets played more because people are dying to play Rico, and people think the Cowboys are going to smoke the Giants, and I don't know that's going to be the case. Here's some other Rico captains. Rico Aubrey. Surprised to see RB captain with kicker this much. Aubrey's been killing it, so I guess I get it. Honestly, I think Aubrey captain's pretty appealing. Just out of curiosity. Showing that one for our guy Justin, but Aubrey with Lamb, Cowboys, Dak, Singletary, Rico. Get a 5-1 with the RB. 4 dupes here probably means like fucking 30 dupes, so I'm not sold on that one. Aubrey, Dak, Daniel Jones, Singletary, Ferguson, Dowdle. That one's closer, leaving 1,100 on the table. I think that would work a little better. I would like a lineup where we're just getting like some stars and maybe something weird. Can we go in with like CD and Malik Neighbors? Is that possible? Really not seeing any with CD and Malik Neighbors up top. So I guess just a bad move to play Aubrey with both receivers. But it comes up so little. I don't know, man. Singletary should have got there even more. Well, yeah, if he didn't stop at the 1 yard line and do the smart thing, he would have done even better. What else can we go to? I guess a Greg Joseph team, because the Cowboys D's been pretty dog shit. Greg Joseph captain. Greg Joseph with CeeDee Lamb, Dak, Daniel Jones, Devin Singletary, Giants. So even Greg Joseph, you're not getting in CD and Neighbors. Are we just not going to get a lot of CD and Neighbors tonight? Is that maybe a thing? CD and lineup contains Neighbors. So Rico captain, CD, Neighbors, Cowboys D, Singletary, Giants D. So basically kind of a sloggy game where the kickers don't hit, but we're running in touchdowns, catching a good amount, but maybe not scoring receiving touchdowns, I guess would be how that would play out for it to work. Rico Dowdle, CeeDee Lamb, Daniel Jones, Giants, Neighbors, Wandale. There's some stuff here. I don't know. All summer was us depressed, sobs, all crying while we watched Spags cheered us up with Jane Daniels' sakes. He can cry if he wants to, and Karma says Spags wins 100K tonight. I hope so. I'd rather $1 million. 100K would also be perfectly acceptable. But I appreciate that, guys. Look, I've said it time and time again. Like, I give you guys the takes here. I'll do the date. I'll do the process every day. But ultimately, like, I think my strength as the creator is I'm a human being, and I'm trying to be a vulnerable human being here. So even if I'm not crying, just know that I appreciate your guys' support here. And yeah, I'm pushing through. 50K salary here, no fucking chance. Dak, Cooks, Aubrey, Cowboys D, Malik Neighbors, Dowdle, that gets duped. These lineups are not the sexiest. Oh, it's not $1 million. Oh, it's what, like 500K to first today? That sucks. I feel like DraftKings is like just losing every tournament a little bit. Like the Millie Maker is the same every week. That and the play action they hold near and dear. But like I feel like the showdown slates lately are all going down a little bit. And they've been filling, so I don't really get why. What other captains should we look at here? Let's look at some Ferguson captains. Jake Ferguson, CeeDee Lamb, Dak Prescott, Jalen Tolbert, Rico Dowdle, Wandale, Jake Ferguson, Brandon Aubrey, Cowboys, Dak Prescott, Daniel Jones, Singletary. Ferguson, Dak, Daniel Jones, Slayton, Malik Neighbors, Wandale. These are all okay. These Ferguson lineups, I would like one that like makes me feel really good about it. Ferguson, Aubrey, Lamb, Cowboys D, Dak, Wandale. So a 5-1 with the bring back, no Rico, leaving 2,100 on the table. That plays for me. I think that plays for me. Or if you guys have more captain requests, drop in the chat. Otherwise, I'm just going to go favorite 150, and let's try to get the overall meta takeaways here. So highest ROI guy right now is Wandale Robinson and captain, 29% ROI. A Wandale currently playing 43 snaps a game. For comparison's sake, Neighbors is playing 61. Slayton, as we talked about before playing 59. So Wandale's going to have to get there in less snaps. He's getting a 28% target per out run, which is honestly not that far off the 33% for Neighbors. ADOT's much lower, though, a 4.3 ADOT. Wandale would have to, like, strafe these guys for 20 of them. Look at Cook's captain in a second. Rico Dowdle, number 2. Rico Dowdle, captain. You guys that want to play Rico Dowdle, he's coming up here. 10% ROI for him at captain. Brandon Aubrey, 9% ROI for him at captain. Jake Ferguson, 7%. So some of the guys I identified doing well. Wandale's coming up a lot. I think Wandale is going to be a popular pro player play. Do people fade Neighbors with it? I think they probably do. So maybe play Wandale with Neighbors on the flex is one way to do that. Yeah, sorry, but it's a DraftKings video, and I don't. I'd have to literally build the entire thing again. So sorry. 15% off from a good splash. Shout out our guy Jason here. Spags Nugs are a must. Appreciate all the work you do. Thank you. I appreciate you, Jason, as well. All right. Look at the overall exposures here. We got Daniel Jones, 59% in the flex. Dak Prescott, 53% in the flex. Singletary, 49% in the flex. Wandale, 44% in the flex. And Rico, 43% in the flex. So highest exposure guys are all flex plays. Really, that's it. Captain, we're getting more Dak than field, 22% compared to 17%. Singletary at captain, 19% compared to 11%. So playing Giants dominant builds. Tolbert's been playing well. Not getting a ton of them, but you're getting more than the field's expected ownership. So Tolbert maybe, is it possible for Tolbert to hit a captain enough? Tolbert playing 54 snaps a game, 5.3 targets. More targets than Brandon Cooks right now. Real fast for our guys, spurious news, though. Let's look up Captain Cooks. And just for fun, I'll look up Captain Tolbert. Cooks. All right. Brandon Cooks, Brandon Aubrey. 2 different spellings of Brandon's, worth extra points. Cowboys D, Dak Prescott, Daniel Jones, Devin Singletary. So, okay, none of these lineups are like that fun. Because really the issue I'm finding with all this, maybe that's just where my head is today. But Brandon Cooks, Cowboys, Dak Prescott, Daniel Jones, Devin Singletary, Rico. Cooks, Aubrey, Dak, Ferguson, Neighbors, Rico. Tell you what, man, if fucking Zeke hits tonight, he just has to punch in a touchdown. 2, maybe. Just has to punch in a touchdown, though. Jalen Tolbert, captain. Tolbert, Aubrey, Dak, Daniel Jones, Singletary, Jake. Tolbert, Aubrey, CeeDee Lamb, Cowboys, Dak, Singletary. Tolbert, Brandon Cooks, Dak, Daniel Jones, Singletary, Rico. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like Giants 5-1s are going to be the most appealing here based on the fact that we're just not seeing them come up at all. Here's a Giants 5-1. Neighbors, captain, Daniel Jones, Singletary, Giants, Rico Dowdle, Wandale. I feel like Wandale's going to sneak in too many fucking lineups tonight. I do not like Wandale as much as all these. Like, I get the game theory of it, but if he's coming up this much with the Sims and, like, there's underlying data that says he's okay, but he's, like, a really low ADOT guy. I mean, obviously he can play well enough on a full-point PPR site like DraftKings, but I just, like, Wandale's getting in fucking everywhere. And he's so far behind Malik Neighbors functionally. It is the price. You're right. It's the price, but it's like it's the price to such an extent that I almost feel like he's not a good play because he's just getting in everywhere. He's getting in everywhere and changing the overall construction of the lineups like too much, I think. This one, a 5-1 without Wandale, I think appeals to me. Singletary, so we're not going Neighbors at captain, is a little bit tough. I feel like if the Giants were to really slaughter the Cowboys, we're probably need Neighbors at captain. Dak is the 1 in a 5-1, is also not the most appealing. With how CeeDee Lamb's been playing, though, I guess you can make the case more than ever. But Singletary, Dak, Daniel Jones, Slayton, Giants D, Neighbors. Nah. Yeah, I don't know. Not a great feel. Not a great feel. We just talked about Hyatt up top. Hyatt, some coach speak, saying that he's going to get not as much work as he's even been getting, or at least, it's going to be flat. Slayton, I think, would have to be inactive at this point for Hyatt to really move up. So Hyatt would have to get there on like one play, which is pretty narrow if you're trying to play him a lot. So that's how that feels. Let's try to build a lineup here. We'll go the single lineup optimizer. If you are guys out there, if you don't want to do, if you're a person, I feel like there's a lot of people these days that don't even have laptops or a way to do. Why is it? Okay. Oh, because I got to shrink it. That's why. Hold on, guys. Stochastic makes this very difficult in a way that I wish they didn't. But I got to shrink this down. There we go. So you can see all the names on screen. Let's make sure we got the showdown on. And we're going to hand build here and sim it out. Say 30% to first for this one. So captain here, I think with what we've seen today, it's going to be a lot of even builds that expect a lot of fantasy points. So I think we'd want to play more defensively minded. That said, both defenses have been shit, so I don't feel the most confidence in it. But I think going Singletary at captain and just trying to play into this Cowboys season from hell thing, that seems to be the case so far, I think it works for me. So I'm going to go Singletary at captain. Man, hard for me to imagine Neighbors not just fucking carving this team up, though. Neighbors with so much work. It's been good in every situation. Maybe it's Neighbors captain. That's going to be so highly owned, though. Neighbors captain projected for Stochastic. 13.5% ownership. Singletary projected for 11. So you're not really getting enough of a discount for Singletary. Fuck it. I still think Singletary is probably the best play just based on the analytics. Let's go with it. Neighbors, I'm going to put him in. Make sure we don't go to Wandale in the flex. Dak, hard to imagine him not dropping back enough. I don't believe in the run game enough for the Cowboys, so I will go Dak here. Need to pair somebody with him. CeeDee Lamb, obviously going to be the one that we'd expect to do that with. Giants been shutting down slot receivers pretty well. Only a 38.6% target there allowed to the slot, negative 0.13 EPA, which is not good numbers. Softer out wide, where they're giving up a 34% target rate and a 0.25 EPA. CeeDee Lamb can benefit out there too. They play man at a 29% clip. Should benefit CD. All right, let's put CD in. Let's see what happens when we do this. Going to be left with not a lot of money if I had to guess. $23.50 per player. So we got to play a very cheap guy. Theo? Cheap as Theo. Theo's $2,400. So we play Theo. We say Daniel Jones doesn't get there. Zeke and Dowdle probably unique, but I don't think you'd want to play them both together. What is going on here? Why is Zeke? Oh, I don't have the salary for Zeke. That's why. All right, fuck me. Maybe instead of CD, we go to Zeke and just try to get the touchdowns. That feels like such a lower upside, though. I'm going to take Dak out. We'll say he concentrates production through CD a little bit more, but Ezekiel Elliott scores the touchdowns. I really think Rico's going to get overplayed today. So that's my logic for this in this hand build we're doing. I think Cowboys do get Daniel Jones at some point, but do they make a lineup? 5,400 for Cowboys D. Brandon Aubrey's 5K. Yeah, Aubrey kicking field goals would be another way that all these guys could make a lineup, because it means CeeDee Lamb's not getting enough touchdowns. Zeke's not getting enough touchdowns. I can live with this. Got 3,900 left in salary. Singletary Neighbors. So a Giants kicker, Giants D maybe. Giants D would leave us only 300 on the table. But we're playing Zeke and we're playing Giants D, which I think gets us low owned enough. So let's see. So technically I just built a 3-3 build, so I did kind of half measure it here. Swapping Zeke for Aubrey feels lateral for less money. That's the thing, though, is like everybody's going to do that. And I still think Zeke has the goal line role. Like nothing to me, I think, has changed about it. So negative 36% ROI here. I mean, again, we're going off the beaten path, so it's not a surprise that it would be that bad. Like if we were to make it good, what we would have to do is like take out Zeke. Would put in Rico. I bet the Sims would like something more like this. Rico and Slayton or Theo. Go Theo. I still like that first lineup more, but just to see if the Sims just cleans it up, because I think the Zeke part of it is what's driving the Sim down for the most part. And to be clear, I don't think Zeke captain is the move no matter what, but I think Zeke in the flex is more of a move than it would seem. All right, this got worse. So Singletary at captain, maybe it is what the toughness of trying to jam in Neighbors, CD, and Dak, or at least Neighbors and CD coming in. You did get Solver Sims. There you go. Fuck, man. Is there like any good combo with this base? Schoonmaker, Deuce Vaughn. What if you play Hunter Lukey? Hunter Lukey scores one touchdown, leaves us 9,300 on the table for one more player to put in. And we take Jake Ferguson with it. So Cowboys 4-2 here. Is it your Jalen Hyatt? I mean, there's viable ways. I'm not doing it in this build. I could try to flip it. I'm not going to get to a positive ROI here. I still like the idea of Singletary captain, though. Again, you're not getting as much of a discount as I would have hoped for with that. All right, so Aubrey at captain, kicking a lot of field goals. What does that mean? And probably means Aubrey kicking field goals from like the 40. So you're probably not seeing a great day for multiple Cowboys. Touchdown to CD. Or PPR points. Does Daniel Jones get there in an Aubrey game? I think Singletary would get there in the flex in an Aubrey game. Cowboys D in an Aubrey game, maybe. And 6,300 left. You could go to the defenses or a kicker here. Let's go to the other kicker. All right, so a 2-kicker lineup here. 2 kickers with a defense, which doesn't win as often as it should. Usually it's 2 out of the 4 kickers and defenses that make a true optimal lineup. But let's see. Cowboys D at captain. We looked at that before. I think it's not a bad play, but as I mentioned a little bit earlier in the video, really think I would watch out for how the industry talks about Cowboys D today because they get pressure on QB a lot. People know Daniel Jones sucks against pressure. This year, he's sucking a little bit less bad against pressure. So I think people might talk themselves more into Cowboys D as the day goes on, and I'm not sure that's the move. I think the projections right now are favoring Giants more than I would think. We saw Daniel Jones, top 3 projection. Neighbors not far behind. Singletary got a pretty good projection on him as well. But I think people might ignore the projections and play more Cowboys dominant stuff. So that's my gut lean here. Anyway, we did not build a positive ROI single lineup entry, and I don't care about it enough to keep doing it. But guys, 3 takeaways to build unique lineups here. Before we do that, though, please subscribe down below, hit the like button, leave a comment. Again, no matter what I'm going through, I show up and do the work here because that's my commitment to you guys. So hopefully you can show that commitment back. Hit subscribe, hit the like button, and show up here. And you can fucking leave me if you want. But you know, like, show me some love back here, guys, because I do my best to push through whatever else I have going on. But 3 takeaways to build unique lineups tonight. Number 1 would be, I think 5-1s. I think onslaughts were on the menu a little bit more. They didn't come up naturally with the projections. This game feels like one where the Cowboys can crush, where the Giants maybe as like a lower owned thing. They sneak one out here against a Cowboys team who's also been playing like shit. Again, my lean would be based on the Vegas totals here. It's like Cowboys a 5.5-point road favorite. It's a pretty pronounced line there, but I do think overall, like, again, the goal is not to play the lineup that's going to be the most likely thing that everybody's going to play. It's to build unique stuff. So I think playing the Cowboys blowout or conversely playing the Giants blowout going to be less represented than it should be because the Giants project too well. Talk about the Wandale value. Like, guys are just going to sneak into lineups more than they probably should. Number 2 would be, I'll say it. I don't think Rico Dowdle is as good of a play as people think. The snap count's getting better for him. The game script last week, I would say, favored him a little bit more. If the Cowboys get up a little bit, I do think you see more Zeke. Still think you see Zeke in the red zone. So I would say don't sleep on Zeke making the lineup. And look, Rico's got a better projection than him. 10.9 for stochastic compared to 7.9. That's not as big of a gap as it seems like. So I think that people are going to really chase Rico this week. I get it. Again, I'm talking about the snap counts for Zeke are going this way. Snap counts for Rico going this way. But I still think that Zeke gets the goal line work, and I do think he punches one in today. So I would honestly take a Zeke anytime touchdown today. Third way to get unique today. Is Aubrey captain actually going to be unique? Looking it up real fast. Aubrey projected for 1% captain, 22% ownership. The Cowboys should be able to move the ball in the Giants, and they should be able to do well in the red zone. Like I talked about, the Giants have not been efficient in the red zone, but Aubrey can kick some field goals, and we get to see a game where maybe none of the Cowboys' primary players score touchdowns. And besides Zeke, Zeke scores touchdowns. Everything else gets kicked in by Aubrey. That's how Dak maybe doesn't make a lineup. I think Aubrey captain, playing Aubrey in more lineups than not. He's only 22% projected owned right now. I'll be playing Aubrey. He's got one of the biggest legs in football, and I think they're going to be able to move the ball in the Giants, but I don't think they're guaranteed to smash him. And frankly, it wouldn't shock me if this were a game where Aubrey kicks 5 field goals, 2 of which are 40 to 50 yards or greater. So I think Aubrey to me is priced in a way where it's uncomfortable to get to him, but that's sort of the appeal. So I like Aubrey. One guy I'd watch out for, because like the ownership, he could get a little frothy, but I think he and Cowboys D are the 2 I'd really watch out for getting frothy. But I like Aubrey a lot in this build. But there we go, guys. That's it for me today. Again, if you want to support the show, and please do that today, guys. Like, it's really hard for me to fucking do this stuff. My instinct is just to go, let me go fucking hide my shell. But I make a commitment here to do the work every day. And as I've mentioned, Splash Play is my job. So support it, please, if you can. 15% off. link in the description for Stochastic. Go check out their products, even if it's just a single lineup sim you saw me play with there. It's a lot of fun. You do it on your mobile phone. So check it out. Stochastic, 15% off with the promo code SPLASH, or the link in the description. Solver, link in the description as well. Again, both these things support the show with affiliate fees, so please do that if you can. If you want to check out these products, and really, if you want FanDuel lineups and stuff, go build it for yourself. I'm not, again, this is my gambling. I'm not doing everybody's gambling. That's the premise here on Splashplay. So check it out for yourself. Use that promo code SPLASH. Or actually, yeah, promo code SPLASH on the solver as well. And hit the join button down below, guys. I know if we've lost a few members, could use some more joining right now because I have to update the graphic. But $4.99 down below. Support the show here. You get a weekly video from me going game by game, looking deeply into all my data. And also you get my data sheet itself, which combines a bunch of stats together into one place and projections as well. So that's part of the process here. You also get a VIP Discord, which has been bumping lately. So shout out to all you guys hanging out in there. But if you want to be a part of the community even more, $4.99 down below. Follow me at Chris Spags. Follow the show at SplashPlayPod. And hopefully I'll be back tomorrow in a little bit better spirits. But, you know, I'm an emotional boy. Rest in peace to my dog, Penny. Love her. You don't know her, but she was fucking great. I hope your dogs are great too. Treat them kindly. Give them an extra head scratch, some extra treats, whatever. Fucking let them bite you. I don't know. But love your dogs, guys. Adopt one if you can. I'll see you guys tomorrow for more. So, hey, enjoy your days. And, of course, good luck. Bye-bye.